we go. All right, so it says we're live.
We are live.
Okay.
Is we live?
I got the notification.
That's what it's saying.
We're on.
Hello, Gun Nation.
Yep, we should be on. We're good.
Yep.
Good evening.
How's everybody?
Hello.
Pretty good crowd.
That's funny. Nodak is saying, good evening. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, Gaston Glock? I like that.
I'm sure at some point we'll bring up Glock.
So, you want to do a rundown on who we have on here?
Go for it.
We have Mr. Craig, and we have Jesus is God, Locked and Loaded, Nolan. Let's see, we've got Abaddon for a little while. Let's see here. Knuckles, got Viborg, Harry's, Nodak, Sean, Sandpaper Pistol, Al Osborne, Logan White, Big Daddy G, Hunts for Food, Phil M. Rivers, Tom Sullivan, Dave Ports. Got them all showing up.
Very good. Very good. Very good. All right. So I guess we'll start in about a minute. Let everybody get situated. See if we get any more people. But we'll see.
Some peoples.
There's a lot to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. It's pretty interesting, and half of it's not even gun related. It's actually politics and people getting banned from YouTube and all this interesting stuff going on.
Right.
Pretty interesting night.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Got SWAT, James, Young Guns, Evan Minifield, G-Man's on, Gerald.
Nice jacket. Thanks, Logan. It's more like a, I don't know, long sleeve shirt. Hunt for Food is asking who owns a Steyr M9. Everybody here.
Yep.
All of it.
And if you don't, get one.
It's required reading material.
Yep. And
we got Foo Master on here, and he traded a CZ for a Glock. What the hell's going on?
And if you're smart, go out and get yourself an L9. It's even better.
Yeah. Got Mr. Keenan on.
All right, so let's get this rolling, shall we?
Wicked says you're covering up your pathetic arms.
Yes, that's right, Wicked. You're absolutely right. Let's get started. Let's talk about some interesting stuff. So, obviously many of you are probably aware that the House actually had a vote today, the House of Representatives. And there is some bitter irony to all of this because, of course, you have one bill that everybody was, hoping would pass, which was the reciprocity bill. And unfortunately, what apparently was latched onto that was the Fix the NICS bill. And so both of those bills went in together combined, and the House voted today, and the House actually passed it. So now it is going to be kicked up to the Senate, which will probably get approved and then eventually be on the president's desk. Now, it's going to be kind of interesting because obviously we have a lot of people who are in favor of the reciprocity. I myself am a huge proponent of that. I think we should have that no matter what. But of course, the NICS issue is a big one because now people are going to be concerned, who else is going to be added to the NICS list, the buy gun list? Is it going to be veterans who suffer from PTSD, elderly people who, collect Social Security? That's a lot of the questions that still have not been answered. I've seen and read a couple of things where they were talking about the reason why this was pushed this way was because they knew the reciprocity bill was not going to pass without it. So they decided to add it so it could get passed and bumped up to the Senate. Now, again, I don't know one way or another if that's true. I'm just telling you what I've read, and there's a good and bad side to this, obviously. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens when it's up in the Senate. But what do you guys think about that?
Go ahead.
Well, I'm like you. The national reciprocity is great. I think we need to eliminate some of the confusion we have out there from state to state. If you're somebody who's traveling quite a bit, and we definitely know some people who travel throughout the week, whatever, you might end up going through a state or two where their laws and regulations are completely different, and you have to, you know, change your game plan for however long you're traveling through their state. So I'm all for it. Eliminate that confusion, and make carry available for everybody if you've got a license to meet the qualifications. The fixed NICS thing is a little bit more complicated. I totally agree that it could be far-reaching and take guns out of hands of people who should be able to own firearms. That's a problem. There's another side to that, though. I'm okay, and this may not be the most popular thing to say here, but I'm okay with keeping guns out of hands of people who shouldn't have guns. And so, you know, if there's a way to keep people who are mentally not able to deal with firearms or could cause harm to other people, that's perfectly fine. But being able to allow anybody else the opportunity to enjoy firearms or keep them for self-defense or home defense or whatever. So that's a topic, I think, a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I read an article just a little while ago saying that the Senate most likely won't pass it, even though that it's gone through the House. Now, I don't know how true that is or not, but they didn't have a lot of confidence in that. So we'll see how that goes.
And I mean, I think that the, you know, having, of course, state to state, I mean, I think that's great. And the other states that I travel through, you know, they do recognize mine, so that's a good thing. But, you know, the NICS deal, I think they padded a lot of crap in there. I think we can all agree upon that. But, you know, if it makes it stronger, I mean, I don't think there was anything wrong with what we had before, you know, such as the Texas deal where the guy shot up the church, you know, that was dishonorably discharged. You know, that was a fault of the military not reporting that for that specific guy. But, you know, I just hope they don't start just adding a bunch of other crap in there or make it totally, you know, not viable for, you know, veterans and things like that to get guns. You know, I hope they just don't drag up a whole bunch of crap on them for no reason. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll just have to see how far it goes now. You know, they're going to pad stuff in every bill, whatever it is. They're going to try to pad crap in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well, they really can't right now because
not now. No.
That whatever they pass up to the Senate is the actual bill. And so if they want to change that at all, the Senate has to kick it back down to committee. The committee has to go through it, and then it has to go through the House of Reps again for a vote, I believe, unless it gets kicked back up to the Senate. I don't know. I got to brush up on that. Yeah. But, you know, the bill is as is. And, you know, unfortunately, there's no more line item vetoes. So the president can't go there and say, all right, let's just get rid of this one. So that kind of sucks. Yeah. But, you know, we're going to see. We're going to see how it plays out. I mean, in one regards, I think they are definitely hooking us up with the reciprocity. And I know some people don't necessarily want to hear that because they feel that we're giving up some things. And we are. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out and then go, you know, batshit crazy when it doesn't work out in our favor.
Right.
So we'll see. Now, the other thing that I actually wanted to bring up, it's kind of interesting because, you know, with this whole anti-gun culture that we're getting into now, and we have been probably for the past, you know, 8, maybe 9 years, maybe even longer, we're seeing an attack on a lot of people's rights, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, these types of things. And, you know, they do it under the guise that, you know, YouTube is a private entity. However, if you think about it, it's actually private entity, but it's using public airwaves to, you know, distribute information. With that being said, one of the things that annoys me is, and I'm not a fan of his at all. I really don't even care to watch his videos. But as many of us probably know, Yeager's main channel, James Yeager, on YouTube has been booted. He still has the other one, which is the what's the name of his thing?
Well, the tactical response, I think, was the one that was booted, wasn't it?
No, James Yeager was booted, but tactical response is still on. So I mean, he has that outlet as well until, of course, they figured that out, and then they removed that one. But it's kind of interesting to see how far they're willing to go. I'm not surprised that they went after somebody as volatile as him. I mean, he's a pretty volatile guy, and he doesn't necessarily communicate his messages, you know, eloquently sometimes. But does that really give the right to YouTube to have somebody who we don't even know deem his channel inappropriate. And what was so inappropriate, you know, and apparently they're not giving those reasons, which I think is just absolutely ridiculous. So what's your take on that?
Well, I think that, you know, basically penalizing anyone for their right for free speech is crap. You know, whether it be, you know, what's crazy is they gave him strikes, but yet we see all this Antifa crap, you know, still on the internet. You know, we see, I mean, you know, whatever it is, but, you know, trannies, all kinds of stuff on there, you know, and that's their freedom of speech, but yet they'll try to shut him off, or a gun channel, or, you know, something like that. And we've all seen it with our videos. I mean, I don't know what it is, and I think it's the name, but every time I post something with P09, it automatically gets demonetized, no matter what. And they won't ever remonetize it. So I don't know why. But I just think they're looking for anything and everything, you know, to condemn channels on, you know, either guns or ammo or whatever it might be. I think they're picking and choosing what they want to show people or allow people to watch. Now, granted, you know, he threw fits and he did different things, and, you know, probably didn't handle things the best he should. But, you know, who are we to judge him? It's his deal. You know, we do our deal. But of course, YouTube, they have the right to do really whatever they want to do since it's their platform. But I think it's just picking and choosing is BS. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, I was just reading a couple of comments, and Sheepdog Society made a good point that, and they may very well do this. He says they'll watch our reaction to Jaeger and then decide whether to ban less volatile firearms channels. There could be a real point to that. You know, we've seen some other big channels, and military arms channel, and thankfully they have not gone away. So I'm like you guys. I'm not necessarily surprised that James was a target, because he was fairly vocal. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, we already started seeing videos out there from other people saying unban James Jaeger. But I'm with you guys. He should be allowed to say what he wants to say, just like anybody else. There's a lot of stuff out there on YouTube that is far more volatile, and I use that loosely, than anything he's doing. You know, he's just kind of a crazy gun guy. But you know, we'll have to see how this all plays out.
Yeah. John, I don't know if they'll ever allow him to come back. You know, I don't know if they're going to, you know, just because people are saying don't ban this, or, you know, unban James Jaeger. You know, I don't know if YouTube's going to listen and allow him to come back. You know, I think once they rip down the channel, it could very well be hard to bring back. You know,
yeah, but maybe this is much ado about nothing, because technically he's still there. You know, yeah. James Jaeger's YouTube channel is not there, but Tactical Responses channel is still there. So technically, he still has that outlet. You know, he just lost one with that had, I guess, the more subscribers. The other channel, Tactical Response, was like the sister channel that didn't have so much. So, you know, maybe that has something to do with it.
And, you know, I'm surprised they're not, you know, in some way with YouTube. And I know you can have a different email address and maybe a different credit card, other stuff attached, but I'm surprised they didn't, you know, were able to push them together and just, you know, block him out totally. Or who knows if that's what their intention is to follow up with. Who knows?
Yep. Right. All right. So that was a good little intro to everything non-related to guns. So let's start talking about some interesting firearm stuff. So I'm going to start it off with talking about this mysterious gun called the Arsenal Strike B. So yeah, I have to tell you guys, I'm not real happy with what's going on with this. There's been a lot of mixed messages. I actually was communicating back and forth with the guy who is the head of this place called Rain 6, which is where a lot of people went and bought their Strike Bs and paid for it. And, you know, we were told on December 6th that we'd have a big announcement coming from this guy, Dimitri, who I think he's the owner. I'm not sure. But that deadline has come and gone. And as I was, you know, kind of looking through social media, I wound up seeing this one person who was talking back and forth to this guy, Jimmy from Rain 6. And Jimmy said to him, look, you know, next week we're going to have the big announcement, blah, 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 blah. But there's been zero talk about if this announcement is going to be the releasing of the gun. You know, they keep saying they're going to, you know, he's going to tell us what happened and all this other nonsense. Honestly, I don't care. I don't care what red tape happened. I don't care what was delay. I want a concrete date when that gun's going to be out, because like myself and many others, we put our money out there. The money's there. It's theirs. We don't have a product. And that kind of disturbs me a little bit. So, I'm kind of going back and forth, debating what I want to do. Do I want to get my money back and just say, screw it, and I'll just, buy 2 guns instead of 1? Or do I wait another week, and see what this announcement is? But, again, there's been zero disclosure by Arsenal, which I think is what annoys me the most, is that they are not disclosing anything. They're not being transparent at all. Then you've got Reign 6, which is a distributor of theirs, and it's also, I guess, a gun training academy or whatever. And they're acting almost like the spokesperson for Arsenal. And I just don't see why that is. You can't get any answers. You can't get anything remotely close to being when this thing is going to be released. So I don't know if anybody out there has their Strike B on hold and has already paid, but I'd love to find out if anybody has anything else to say about that.
Yeah, I think it's awful. The fact that they have not been forthcoming with very much information, especially since they're holding your money. It's one thing if you hadn't put any money on there and they weren't trying to take any pre-orders or anything. Whatever, it is what it is. But when you're sitting on X amount of dollars for something with very little information on what's going on, what to expect, when it's coming, or even pictures saying, "Hey, we're into production," or "We're doing this," or something. Yeah. That's pretty crappy. That's not a good way to do business.
And we're all in business. I mean, with customers, you have to update them. You have to give them some sort of information. You can't just leave them hanging, because when you leave them hanging, that's when they're going to think the worst case scenario. I think just like, y'all were saying, just a simple update saying, "Hey, here's where we are," or whatever. But making excuses, I mean, we all know excuses are like assholes. Everybody has one. Especially when you're holding people's money. It's not a good thing, not a good thing at all. So, I think they need to get their shit together. And they're not the only one to ever do this. We know that. There's been people hold back on crap and, then even have to refund people's money on different things.
Yeah. I mean, the crazy thing is that the guns are somewhere, I just don't know where they are. Yeah. They've released them in Germany. Germany has them. There's been a lot of supposedly amazing reports about them. I think the German police are actually using them, but there's nothing here. So I just want to know, like, what happened. The ATF approved it, and then all of a sudden everything went blank. There was no communication. Arsenal's Facebook page went down. They're not accepting anybody on Instagram. So it's almost like, what happened? Why not just let the cat out of the bag and let us know what the process is at this point?
Yeah. It's almost like, kind of shady. Like, did they take your money and run? Which I'm sure they probably haven't, but shit, you don't ever know.
Yeah, I don't think Reign 6 would do that. Everybody is saying they're pretty much stand-up type of people, but I don't know, man. It's an awful lot of money. I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just wait and see. It's another week, so let's just wait, see what happens.
Exactly.
Well, Young Guns was saying, what if you need to get it serviced? And you and I were talking about that earlier. What's the warranty coverage? How easily are you going to be able to get something taken care of if need be?
Right. And that's always another big question. But I mean, if those questions were things you would worry about, then you shouldn't go out and buy like an AREX or a Grand Power like Bald and Curious, because a lot of these guns don't really have any domestic places. Although I think with the Strike B, they have some sort of base of operations out of Las Vegas.
So
we'll
so
see.
does AREX. AREX does too. So
yeah,
it's all distributor, but I know what you're saying. Holding people's money is just not a good thing.
So we'll see. I mean, I've been waiting now, gosh, how many months now? So what's another week? But I even inquired, do we have a date as to what we mean next week? And they didn't even respond to that. And I think that's what's getting me a little on the edge. $800 is gone and there's no product.
Yeah. Just a simple email, would probably take care of a lot of people. But
Absolutely.
You just don't know if they have the customer support there yet or what the hell they're doing. Right. It's just hanging you out to dry is really a bad scenario on anything.
So the other thing that I've been watching on YouTube recently is there's a lot of people doing their Guns of the Years video, which is kind of interesting because we have we have like another couple of weeks before the end of the year, but I guess it's better to do it now. And where am I getting this echo from now all of a sudden?
I don't know, it's you.
It's not me.
You froze for a second too.
Did I really?
Yeah, just for a second.
What a shocker. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I've been watching the Guns of the Year videos that people have released. There's a lot of good content, man. There's a lot of people out there pushing what they feel are the best guns of the year. So I'd just like to take a survey of everybody on the panel and everybody who might be watching. What do you think the gun of the year is, in your opinion? So that'd be going to you guys.
Go ahead. Go ahead, KS.
Well, so I was one of those channels that already kind of released one of those, and that was really to celebrate the year of the channel, really. But that's a hard one to pick because there were some really good ones that were on the channel, and I was looking not so much at guns that were new this year, but just what I had covered over the course of the year. I would probably say, though, the gun of the year for the channel, based upon the reviews and the success of the reviews and my enjoyment of the firearm, would probably go to the P10, but only by a small amount, because there have been some others that have been real surprises, and the M&P 2.0 Compact is definitely one of them. But the P10 would probably be it for me.
For myself, it would definitely be the Shadow 2. You know, if I could pick one, I would probably say the Shadow 2. You know, really enjoying the pistol, and you know, can't say enough great things about it. So, oh, and then actually the Batman gun too. I don't know if y'all have seen the new Batman gun, but the Batman gun's pretty awesome.
The Batman gun?
Yeah, it's a new Batman gun. Just wait, the Batman gun will be out. Don't worry.
Okay.
That was just a sneak peek for the people on the chat.
So, gun of the year, man, is a tough call. You know, I'll probably make a video because I want to be just like everybody else. And it's hard for me to say, you know, because there's so many great choices. You know, the P10, in my opinion, is definitely up there. There's no doubt. It's probably one of the best guns I've shot all year. There's really not much else I can say. It's just a fantastic firearm. One thing that shocked me was the M&P 2.0. Fantastic firearm. Can't say enough about it. But as somebody mentioned out there, what do I think is the gun of the year? For me personally, it's the Steyr. I think that Steyr is finally coming into its own. I think people are starting to recognize how good of a firearm it is and why it's such a good firearm. Now, would I have to choose between an M9 or an L9? I'll tell you guys, this L9 makes a hell of a lot more sense. You got the long slide, but you got the same grip. And the thing is just a rocket to shoot. It really is. It's awesome. So for me, it'd probably be the Steyr.
I have the L9 link.
Nice. To what?
I said I have the L9 length on mine, just not the L9.
Oh.
With the threaded barrel. Humble is saying Shadow 2. Yeah, it's, you know, and it's going to vary between, you know, whatever person, you know, like I know the Steyr is not brand new out, but it definitely, you know, it definitely is a great gun. Matter of fact, I'm going to be shooting mine a lot more this weekend too. Looking forward to that. But what else is going on, KS? Anything exciting?
Are you trying to set me up for something?
I wouldn't do that.
I'm just kind of reading through the comments here. So a lot of good guns mentioned for sure. Gen 4 19C from Tom Sullivan. I like that. It's a good gun. Yeah, definitely some new stuff going on for sure. Bald and Curious made me very jealous a week or two ago when he got a hold of a Hudson H9. And I've been wanting one of those, as you guys know, for a long time. Well, today I actually found one, and I did pick one up. So I'm very excited. In fact, the place I went to, not normally a place I shop, but they happen to have two, which was very surprising. And it's the only shop in town that seems to be able to get them for whatever reason. They have now had a total of 3. So 3 people in Kansas City, or at least 2 by the time I bought mine. 2 people in Kansas City now have Hudson H9s that I'm aware of. But I went out and shot it. I came home and I cleaned it and just kind of got it ready to go. Took it to the range and shot 250 rounds through it. I have to say, It is about as fun as any gun I've ever shot. It is pretty fantastic. So I'm very excited about it. It's a long time coming, and I'm excited to do some fun videos with it. So we'll see.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool gun.
So is it your favorite so far, Chaos?
Like favorite ever?
Maybe not ever.
Of the year?
Yeah, the favorite gun that you shot this year.
I haven't put enough rounds through it yet. I don't know it well enough. And I was telling you guys, there's some teething issues with it. The extractor is a little bit stiff. There might even be a burr in there or something. So it had a couple of, when I would put a fresh magazine in, the first round would not always want to fully seat in the extractor. And that's actually fairly common with 1911s. That can happen on higher end ones, especially. We just got to kind of break them in a little bit, let all that stuff work itself in, because it looked normal otherwise. But once you're going, it was fantastic. Never had any failures once the gun started shooting or anything. But it is a fantastic shooter. Is it my favorite? I don't know. I don't know yet. There have been some other really good ones. The last gun I took to the range was a lot of fun, a surprising amount of fun, and that was the P01 Omega. And you guys know my experience with the last P01. So I was pleasantly surprised that this one turned out to be a lot of fun.
Cool.
I think the Omega, well, we've talked about the Omega, but I like them. So what about you, 17?
Well, I don't really have anything going on, to be honest with you. Strike B hasn't come in. I've got another little gun coming in, hopefully, it's supposed to be here Friday, which means I won't get it, obviously, for, God knows how long, probably after the new year. So we'll see what that is. But I'm not at liberty to discuss that right now.
Not at liberty. Secret squirrel stuff, huh?
That's right. You got to know the secret.
Yep. And yeah, I've had that, what you were mentioning on the Hudson, I've had that with brand new 1911s before too. So it's just, you got to run, 300 to 500 rounds through them, and then it loosens up and everything starts working great. So then maybe that's all it is, I'm sure.
Yep.
So Bald and Curious still hasn't gotten his, just so you know, KS. If that makes you feel better.
I was surprised. I actually thought he already had his. Bald, I'm sorry for giving you so much crap for it, but you will love it. You will love it. And I want to know if you have extractor issues too.
All right. So there's a couple of questions coming through here, and that echo is really bugging me. Let's see. It's one of your speakers. I can hear it running through your speakers, whoever that is. But anyway, moving on. So there's one here that is asking, or actually it's really a statement from Hunts for Food. He's saying the only thing that bothers him on the Steyr M9 is that there's that key lock on the takedown lever. I would tell you it shouldn't bother you at all. It has absolutely no functional purpose, cannot interfere with the function of the gun. It's just there. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't really know what the hell. It's like a mole on your face. It's just friggin' there. It has no functional purpose at all. But
you don't activate it. You don't worry about it.
Yeah, it won't do anything. It won't deactivate the trigger. It's not going to shift out of place. It's just a piece of the takedown lever. And the only way you can activate it is by sticking the key in there. So,
Blazin has a question. Best night sights under $100. I think we'll all agree on this, but
I think Ameriglow, and I've been looking at this other one called Fission Night Sights or something like that. You guys heard about them?
No.
Yeah, I've been trying to get them to send me something, and they won't.
Yeah, I would say Ameriglow.
I would say Ameriglow too. Real quickly, I carry my revolver in single action, saying, what do you think of the Fight Light Raider pistol? Have you guys ever heard of that before?
Yes.
What the hell is that?
It's kind of like an AR-15 shockwave kind of looking thing.
Oh.
Yeah. But man, the price is pretty steep on it. But
doesn't it also have the magazine? Doesn't it have a mag in it? Yeah,
you can run a mag in it, but it's kind of like a shockwave. It's got it's got the brace on it, kind of like the shockwave, but it's an AR-15 pistol.
So
or firearm.
Something's got me a little curious. Jesus is God keeps asking me these New York questions. about, what are the carry laws in New York? How many? What's going on there, Jesus? I'm just curious. Are you moving to New York? Because if you're coming to New York, don't bring your gun because you'll get arrested. Oh, which actually is kind of interesting because up here by me, up in New York, and Bold and Curious probably knows this, there was a shooting in the mall. And apparently it was some guy who supposedly discharged his firearm, negligently discharged it in a store, and then fled the scene. And then they came out with the information. They finally caught the guy, and they came out with the information saying that he has a New York State carry pistol permit, but lives in Pennsylvania and has a permit there as well. And so as soon as I heard that, I was like, whoa, time out. You cannot have a pistol permit in New York State if you're not a resident. So I don't know how the hell this guy is even remotely claiming that as his defense, that he was able to carry his gun. Because in New York State, they don't accept any out-of-state licenses.
He's probably full of it.
Or he might have dual, he could have dual residency, if you own a home.
No, you can't do that. You can't have dual. You have to be a permanent resident of New York, and you have to be able to prove that you live the majority of time in New York State. So you can't have a joint residency.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean 51% of the time, though?
Yeah.
As far as I know, no. You have to be a full-time resident of New York State to have a pistol permit here.
How would they know?
They ask for your tax information.
Yeah, but
if you have a resident, you can still have taxes and you can keep your electricity on, etc.
Right, but you're also going to have tax. You're also going to have taxes from another state.
Well, he could have dual businesses. That's what I'm saying. He could have a business there and a business elsewhere.
I don't know. I'm not an attorney. All I know is that it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's crappy.
So Jesus is asking, how can you visit because of the new bill? Jesus, it hasn't been passed yet.
Yeah.
It has to go to the Senate. Senate has to pass it. Then it has to go to the president who signs it. So it hasn't even gotten to that process yet, man. It's still a bill. It's not a law.
It's only a bill sitting on Capitol Hill.
I know, man. Don't you remember the Schoolhouse Rocks?
Yeah.
That's right.
Hell yeah. Sad thing is I think I remember every word of the damn song. Let's see here. There was another question here. Oh, well, yeah, he was saying the Ghetto Blaster has the best name of the year.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty funny.
The ball is saying that you can get it if you own property in New York. You can get non-resident permit.
That's what I was going to say, because I know other states offer that too. With multiple, like if you own homes elsewhere.
I got to look that up. You guys keep talking.
All right. Let's see here. No, Hunts, I'm not going to sing the song, but I do know it. Yeah, Schoolhouse Rock, hell, it taught us a lot back in the day. Let's see here. Ever shot a SE-122 Silver Eagle shotgun? Logan, I have never shot one. Not familiar with it. Okay, there is a question. How many rounds did everyone shoot this year? Blazon's got 5,500.
Jesus. I don't even know. I'd have to think about it. Shit, just in my Canic alone, when I had all those issues, I shot, I think, 1,000 rounds just with that one gun. So
I average about 12,000 a year, roughly. I mean, usually it's around 1,000 a month, and sometimes it's a little bit more.
I would say I'm probably over 20,000, honestly. I would say. Yeah, I mean, I know I'm over 20,000.
Probably about 10 and a half around there, maybe more.
Yeah, and then Razor ordered 2,000 rounds of Hellfire on the way. Yeah, I ordered another 1,000 rounds. Humble Marksman, 17,000 rounds. Maybe I'm less than.
Do it right's calling us amateurs. We need to train more.
That's exactly right, man. You got that right, buddy. I'm an amateur, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Never claimed to be a pro.
I got to work.
Yeah, exactly.
I shoot when I actually have time to take a dump also. So
and bills to pay. I mean, you know, we would do it right when you're talking 40 or 50,000 rounds a year. That's generally people who get sponsors and that sort of thing. I mean, that is a huge investment. 50,000 rounds. I mean, even 9mm, which is on the cheaper end of the spectrum, that is an incredible amount of money.
Yeah, it is.
It's awesome.
And, you know, all mine, I would say 90% of mine is 9mm. You know, I know when you get into 5.56, 223, stuff like that, you know, it can get a lot more expensive too.
Right.
But yeah, and you know, hell, I probably should be reloading. I know Pops has beat me up and Coda Boy and all them, but you know, I'm just thankful for Hellfire. I've been buying a bunch of their stuff. But
I thought about reloading, man, and then I started thinking, do I actually have time to do it?
Yeah. Well, and that's, you know, that's kind of my thing between traveling and working and shooting, doing all that. You know, I mean, I would love to sit down. I mean, if I could take it with me, you know, and do it in hotels, it'd be great. But I don't think that would be very very normal.
Yeah, that would be tough to do. The reloading thing, that's not on my radar at all. I'd rather buy another gun, you know. Just my take on it. It's fascinating. I love watching the videos on it. I mean, there's a real art and a science to it, but I just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, especially with making, you know, really nice custom ammo. You know, that would be really cool too. Music lovers, you know, I know that she ordered the 22 Cadet for her P09, and I know that she'll love it. I'm still liking mine a lot. Yeah, and Fu Master Chu, you know, he's got his own range in his backyard, which makes it really convenient for him.
All right, so what I want you guys to think about right now is the following question. I want everybody who's watching this also to think about this question. I want you to pick your favorite gun, favorite manufacturer, whatever. I don't really care. And then I want you to think of one thing that you think absolutely sucks about that gun. It doesn't matter what gun. Don't care, you know, whatever. Just think about one thing in your mind that if you could pick a firearm, what do you think is the worst feature of that gun? Maybe it's the trigger, the grip, the slide, the color, aftermarket, lack of aftermarket. You know, what would be the one thing that you think sucks about it?
So our favorite gun, and then what sucks about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, I'll go. So I would probably kind of default to Glock a little bit, just by nature. Their sights are a joke, and that has always been a contention, because if you want decent sights, you have to build that into whatever you're paying for the gun. So that kind of sucks, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, let's say favorite. I mean, you know, probably the Shadow 2 is my favorite. If I have to pick one thing on it, you know, I wish it was set up for MOS. That would be really cool, or an RMR. Now I know you can get it milled and stuff like that, but I would say CZ as a whole, a lot of their sights suck. Like on the P01, the P07. You know, I mean, the P07 is not bad, but it would be great if they all came with really super nice sights from the get-go. So if I have to pick something.
What would I pick? I'm kind of crossed between the Steyr and the CZ. It's hard to pick, because you know, the Steyrs, I love them, but I think it's I can't really tell you if it's the grips or the sights. And I'm not saying the trapezoidal sights, because I love them. I just wish they were actually night sights. But the grip texturing on it is horrible. It's too smooth, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely vote on that for the Steyr. I wish, you know, it had a really aggressive, or at least somewhat aggressive grip.
Right. Yeah.
You know, texture.
Something a little bit more, you know, I would tell you it's not horrible, but it just doesn't have enough texturing to it, unfortunately. But,
yeah, and Ginger is that, it said depends on the reason to change the sights. Is it all function or for defensive use? Well, basically, if you're going by the P01, let's just throw the P01 up, the standard P01, not the urban gray one with the night sights, but the standard P01 sights completely suck. They're tiny as hell. I mean, it's like looking at a ballpoint pen. I mean, they're just worthless.